Messy girl. Thank you for joining. Hi, Big Marie. But I ain't talking about a high. I'm talking about the lives of those who can reach us. Turn your world around and then teach us. Soup for the soul and it feeds us. So light I can't do. I'm feeling brand new, fully loaded with features. The love that frees us, Jesus. She's just better. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's just better. She's just better. She's just better. And so, Spirit, what does the collective need to know? She's just better. 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 I need to play one of my favorite artists of all time. Splash G. R.I.P. Thank you for joining. I want a girl with extensions that I have. Like on dark skin, I really don't care. She looks sad with a bad attitude. Throw it a dick like she's in a good mood. She can talk high pitches, speak with street slang. Potpourri dust that smells like River Wayne. Standing at the bus stop, twisting up a 40 top. When she get tipsy, it's hard to feel her body rock. She like to dance to a splash jam. Soul food thighs like candy yam. Style like Seymour. Ask the third name. I'm feeling all the ladies from around the way. I said we feeling all the ladies from around the way. I said we feeling all the ladies from around. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. Jane trying to work out what you getting in. Thank you for the likes. Hey, Diamond Girl. I'm good. How are you? Not AI saying sing a song. Thank you for the heart me. Tracks that I had like Tyson, she bobbing weed with the M2 J Lee button on her sleeve. Tax on her ankle, Chanel on the keys. Independent dress, so she want a little weed. Baby daddy foul won't come and see the seeds. Shorty rock cool on the child support, please. When she feel down, might bump Alicia Keys. Go ahead, fuck around, get your car keyed up. You cheated on a green light, better speed up. Take my advice, little boy, when you meet her. Have some control, even though you wanna eat her. You niggas can't be serious. Like the leather pants, Eddie Raw and Delirious. Murphy, know all y'all curious. Why around the way, girls act so genuine. Real life, so she got some cause she feminine. About the next kid who got served like Wimbledon. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. Jay trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is a goddess, she was similar. I love you, got my whole crew trembling. Say it when she's so damn feminine. Jay trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is got my whole crew trembling. This goes out to my undergrad chicks. Fashion Abbas, the Players Club Diamond got a strip type of chicks. By the way, girls trying to stack a couple chips. Push up in the store, try to pop a full whip. Even if they gotta carry birds in their clip. But worth 3 gigs, so their money is legit. This is the way we ball a little flip. Silicone Valley implant, little Kims. The leather pump sneakers or the Gilbert Pump Tims. Regular unleaded, fuck premium gas. Brother stud neighborhoods with a premium class. Word ball, keep doing what you do. Young ladies, flat G really doesn't mind you. Been a good while since we acknowledge you. Man, woman, child feels so phenomenal. Got a Jones for you, but you're so logical. I love you from your head to your nail follicle. Should do. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. Jay trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is a goddess, she was similar. I love you, got my whole crew trembling. So the song on is New Day. And the first card out is Expectation. It's about to be a new day. Spirit is saying, don't let the news get you down. Try not to let what's going on in the world get you down. Because it's about to be a new day. Spirit said, you see how he has that watch? Spirit said, time is up. For some of y'all, your divine person is just waiting on you. And just because he's a he doesn't mean it has to be a he. But he or she is just looking at the watch like, when you going to be ready? When you going to create those boundaries with them fuck people and time wasters, energy vampires and users. And you know, that also includes your family as well, because family, you know, I hate to use the word blockage or like say block your blessings. Because again, everything is in divine order and divine timing. Spirit knew when you would slow down, speed up, take a break, make what you would consider to be a mistake. Spirit knows when you gonna have to be sat down for a little while, go into hermit mode. They know when your glow up is going to take place. now, The Truth is on by India Arie, which is giving past life energy. Divine Union energy. This looks like a pretty dope. Is this my playlist? No, this is a playlist that YouTube made for me. It's looking good. Why can't... Okay. Okay, so Spirit, what does the collective need to know? Spirit is showing me someone playing the piano. I feel like there's significance to like keys, ebony and ivory. Maybe someone named Ebony. Using your hands, like gifted hands. Creative hands. Gifted mind, I'm hearing. A composer. I'm hearing the soundtrack of your life. I feel like we all should have a playlist of like our life theme songs, which is the soundtrack of our life. Spirit is showing a mural of like a bunch of birds coming up out of the ground. I feel like that's representing your ascension, seeing things from a higher perspective, like a bird's eye view. Connecting to your higher self. Living on your highest timeline. Being the best and highest version of yourself. Remembering who you are. Bringing the past into the present. And when I said present, I heard the word gift. So Spirit is saying you're a very gifted person. Your gifts are enhancing exponentially. Spirit is creating a world stage for you. It's given the energy of like the culmination of all of your past lives and like everything coming full circle in this lifetime. So nothing has been lost, nothing has been stolen. Well, things have been stolen, but I'll say nothing has been lost, because you are going to reclaim any and everything that had been lost or stolen in all of your past lifetimes from the beginning of time. And so if you have been around since the beginning of time, you are obviously an old soul. And like Spirit is not complaining, but is comparing old souls to AI. So when it's just like AI is pulling from like a bunch of different information sources to create answers, you are able to pull from all those different Akashic records in order to express your gifts and all the wisdom you've accumulated. And you know, your Akashic records are basically like an autobiography. And if the person who is writing the book about themselves is honest, it will have, you know, challenges, ups and downs, pitfalls, consequences of your actions. And a lot of times, Spirit will use your life, your experiences, and all of those things for the benefit of others, so that they can learn from what you went through and hopefully have, you know, like make different choices. Because there are multiple versions of you on different timelines. And like I said, there have been things that have been stolen from you. Thank you for the likes. Stolen but not lost forever. Cannot make it up. Spirit said justice is being served. I'm not doing free readings today, but I will be doing free questions on Friday. There's going to be a lot of people mad when they see you getting justice in your abundance, including your divine counterpart. Because these people that have animosity towards you, all they're doing is they salty because nothing they were trying to do to steal from you worked. Spirit said your abundance is secured and protected. Thank you for the gift. I thank you for the finger heart. Yeah, I said nothing they've tried to do to you has worked. Now, I mean, I can see competitive people doing, I mean, I can't, but, and I'm not justifying it by any means, but I can see people being competitive, like from a financial standpoint, business standpoint. Like, I don't want this person to get ahead of me. You know, I'm trying to build my business, and you know, their gifts may appear to be better than theirs, or whatever, or that's their perception. But when you do this kind of magic, like, first of all, whatever you do to someone else is going to come back to you a millionfold. So, what do you think is going to happen when you try to attack people's abundance and their life purpose, their destiny, their path? It's never a good look. Never. Like I said, it's never a good look. When you go against someone who is out here trying to just operate in their purpose, trying to spread their wisdom, trying to uplift the collective, and you try to come against their abundance, their money is going to keep stacking up. And you're going to be out here, but not you I'm talking to, but this person, these people are going to be out here completely in desperation mode and wishing they had collaborated with you instead of coming against you, because it's like you get way more bees with honey. Yeah, now folks are in conflict, getting messages of concern. In conflict, and we have 55 and 44. In conflict because they thought that what they were doing was hidden. They thought that, you know, see, people like this are really Christian minded. They're not spiritually minded. And why the reason why I say Christian minded is because the idea is that you can do whatever and the blood covers a multitude of sins. That is probably one of the biggest lies that has ever been told. And it's deceptive on many different levels because it creates illusions for people. It creates, I'm hearing, I forgot, I'm hearing the term, it's something of grandeur. It's like feelings of grandeur or something like that, like basically feeling like you're above the law, like you can just do whatever you want to do and get away with it. And honestly, and I just said do whatever you want to do and get away with it. And this is 54, and we have 55 and 44. So this is basically the progression of things. When somebody does the spell work trying to abuse somebody else, they end up abused and then in conflict with themselves. Because once you've made that decision, it can't be unraveled. It can't be undone. And that's what I was about to say as far as like Christianity and other religions, that purport to have like this savior who covers all of your sins. And like I was getting ready to say, honestly, spirit has let people get away with a lot of things for a very long time. And so people will like have memories, and this is where the Akashic records come in, because people will have all of these memories built up from past lives where they did just dumb shit to people, and then transitioning and being cut a break and being sent back to work those things out. But it gets to a point where spirit is like, enough is enough. It's the end of the road. I said enough is enough. Because like I said, it's the same thing with legal stuff. People get used to getting away with stuff. People think that, oh, because they did this, this, and that, and got a slap on the wrist, that, you know, they can continue to do what they were doing because there are no real consequences. But, you know, just like that three strikes law that was enacted, I believe they abolished it. But, you know, it does come to an end. And like I said, it does come to an end. Because what happens is, especially when it comes to money and business and real estate and natural resources and all those things, people get so used to being able to hoodwink others, like I said earlier, create illusions for people. And when you have put mechanisms in place to like keep the veil over people, to keep them away from their spirituality, and that's why so much of spirituality and important parts of spirituality are demonized. So if you look at whatever traditional religion has really made taboo or made demonic or made whatever you're going to be going to hell for, is all because of a very intricate plot to try to keep people from their abundance, from their inheritance. And the problem with that is that you can get away with things to a certain degree, but what spirit will do is will let those things accumulate and snowball and continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going to then create a situation that you cannot unravel. So it's just like doing spell work and, you know, dark magic on people. Once it's done, once the deed is done, you can't take it back. You can actually, like, you can repent, you can go to the person and apologize, but there's still certain things, certain consequences that are attached to your actions that have to be worked out. And so a lot of times people are in tremendous emotional pain because they have accumulated so much karma that spirit is saying it's like a house that fell on the wicked witch. Honey, when a house is sitting on top of you, it's pretty much a wrap. And a lot of times, I'm not justifying people's behavior, But a lot of times people can't help themselves because they are in emotional pain, because they're dealing with mental and emotional distress and anguish. Spirit says it's a lack of faith. Because you can navigate hard times by um, having faith, using your spiritual gifts. You know, she has these things facing herself. Like she has the cards facing her, she has the ball facing her. And so you can do spell work on yourself. You can do, rituals on yourself. And like spirit is basically saying that people actually do spell work and dark magic on themselves just by speaking words over themselves. Also, too, by speaking ill will over other people, but especially, like, it's just like putting your trust in some other person. So people in the Christian church, for instance, will look up to the pastor as like connected and can get a prayer through and is anointed and all of these things. You may look at a grandparent like that. But ultimately, there is no one, no energy outside of your vessel that can have the biggest effect on you. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, spell work does not work against other people. So, there may be somebody that's fighting their own issues, and you can see how gifted and talented they are, and you can see how abundant they're going to be, and you can work on coming against that person, but you don't know what that person has to work out. 9 times out of 10, that person is the cycle breaker in the family and is having to work out and walk out karma for other people because they refuse to do the work. But these people who like using divination for evil, they will do the work and think that it's hitting properly because of the way this person's life looks. Or, oh well, they don't have any motion in their business, so the spell work worked and the road blockages worked and all this other bullshit. And spirit's like, all roads open, everything's a go, sunny skies ahead, because you stayed on your path, you stayed on your mission, you stayed unbothered. You stayed in the energy of being like, even when you didn't know that you had a spirit team, even when you didn't know you had a higher self, even when you weren't totally connected to spirituality, you knew that there was a higher power. You knew that there were bigger things that were working in your favor. You knew that there had to be something better in life. And despite all of the turmoil and all the trauma and all the people coming against you, you still stayed a kind-hearted, pure-hearted person. And Spirit's like, how could we not reward that? How could we not show up and show out for you? Yeah, high priest, high priestess energy. When you're able to navigate your life with, I'm hearing precision through all of the obstacles that were placed in your path, you are an ascended master in the making. And I'm not talking about this is something that you cultivated or something that you taught yourself or something that you learned over time. No, this is something that has always been in you. It has always been a part of you. And as soon as I said this has always been in you, this has always been a part of you, we have twin flame and commitment. This is destined unions. These are twin flames that went through a twin flame journey and have become priests and priestesses, have mastered themselves. And so, like I was talking about yesterday, when you go from being a twin to a soulmate, a divine union, Spirit is saying that it's similar to like the Kundalini awakening. So the Kundalini, for anyone that doesn't know what that is basically like they describe it as coiled energy at the base of your spine. And when you have a Kundalini awakening, this energy, it heats up your body, it shoots up your spine, through your chakras, up, out through the top of your head, and blasts open your crown chakra like a lotus flower. So when two flames become one, that is basically the Kundalini awakening. And so I feel like you are someone who carries, I'm hearing the eternal flame. And I was hearing that yesterday too. And I looked it up. But when you carry the eternal flame, that is a flame that cannot be extinguished. That is a union that cannot be interrupted. People cannot come against it. And so for some of you, it relates back to you marrying and merging your masculine and feminine within. It doesn't mean that you're not going to ever be in a relationship. It doesn't mean that, you know, you have to just be a hermit and, you know, work on yourself for the rest of your life. But it's kind of like one of the two people have to have that fire to ignite the other person. And so typically in like on a twin flame journey, you each are doing work separately, but most times one person's Kundalini ignites before the other person. And then when they meet and they come together, your light ignites the other person's fire. And it's so I was talking about how this guy that I dated that I was never intimate with, we just spent time around each other. He was the person or the energy that I was supposed to meet in order to activate my Kundalini. We were talking on the phone one time, and this was years ago. We were talking on the phone, and I could feel my root chakra spinning. So when you meet familiar energies and you meet energies that are destined on your path, there's no chance meeting. There's no accidental meetings. There's no lucky encounters or things like anything like that. All of these encounters are in divine order and in divine timing. And so that's an example of like we remembered each other from a past life and we connected on that level, but it just wasn't meant for us to be together. You know, it was only meant for us to go on a couple of dates, spend a little time around each other. Whatever he was saying to me was completely activating my root chakra, healing trauma. And then we parted ways. And I feel like Spirit is saying that this is like a bound soul, because the Kundalini sets you free. It helps you to connect with your gifts. It helps you to remember your Akashic records. And so, like, when you have health issues and you're bound to a hospital bed, or you're beholden to doctors and things like that, when you can't just use your free will to get up and move about freely and make decisions for yourself necessarily, that creates this like bound feeling. And just like people who have been incarcerated, who have transcended that confinement, you can always transcend any kind of confinement. If you are put in a predicament where you have to live in your car for a while or a time period until you can get back on your feet, you can 1000% transcend that experience. I mean, TikTok is a perfect example. There are homeless people who built a following off of being homeless. They would show a day in the life of a homeless person living in their car, how they would sleep, how they would eat, what they would do. They would go to the gym and shower or whatever. And these people have, they can build huge followings, be monetized, and all of those things. So there's a difference between like getting on live and crying and begging for $1. Hey, begging for like $1 to be sent to your Cash App, and actually just filming your life and talking to people about what happened to put you in that predicament, taking accountability, for the decisions that you made to get there. Right. And so that's what brings about complete transformation. When you can transmute that energy of a tough time into your glow up, into your ascension, then it is real. I'm hearing it's hard to stop a train. When you're able to transmute the energy in a tough spot, that is extraordinary. Most people will wallow in their shit, complain, cry, beg, just continue to spiral downward. But when you use those experiences for your elevation, you cannot be stopped. And Spirit is saying, yeah, it's like an iceberg. It may not look like much on the surface, but there's a whole lot down at the bottom that could wreck your whole entire life. For some of you, there's some people or a person that you feel like is this trusted, nice individual, but they really evil eyeing the hell out of you. Spirit said, please don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Do not fall for the okie doke. Because that's the classic case of keeping people around you for way too long. Because what happens is, when you keep people around you and connected to you energetically. You are picking up all of their energy that they feel about you. You are telepathically listening to all of the things that they say about you, and you're not even conscious of it. So even though you're protected, hearing that shit, because my spirit team, I'll ask them certain questions and it'll be radio silence. And I'll just be like, okay, so you just not gonna tell me, huh? Sometimes they do that to surprise you, but a lot of times these things are hidden from you consciously for a time period. It's usually revealed at some point, but a lot of times it's hidden from you consciously so that you can use your free will and make a conscious decision to cut certain people out of your life. That is forcing you to use your intuition. And that's another thing. Like, I'll ask spirit certain questions like, can I trust this person? Um, is it okay for me to date this person or something like that? And again, it'll be radio silence because you have to get to a place where you're choosing yourself. And choosing yourself can never run off the person that you're supposed to be with. You may have time of separation. You know, they may get frustrated with you. They may feel like you're argumentative or you're too much to handle or too much to deal with. But ultimately, the person that you are supposed to be with, and you are whether it be platonic, family, romantic, or whatever, you cannot be anything other than the right person for your people, for your community. A lot of times we get into people pleasing mode and we're trying to desperately win the affection of people who could not stand us, regardless of how nice we are, regardless of the good things that we do for them or provide for them. You could be completely funding a parent's life, a family member's life, an adult child's life, and they don't care nothing about you. They tolerate you for what you can do for them. And that's crazy work. I'm not doing that. Because especially as an intuitive person, you can see the evidence. You can see how people's facial expressions are towards you. You can see how their energy is towards you. When you tell them you love them, they won't say I love you too. Shit like that. And like saying I love you too is the lowest form of love that you could possibly express. Because first of all, actions speak way louder than words. If you treat me like shit but tell me you love me, your actions and your words are not in alignment at this time. And so, yeah, these people be straight ops, beating you down, using and abusing you, and can't stand you. And it's like they revel, they rejoice in being close to you so that you can tell them all your business and they can watch you go through hard times, see you struggle, see you go through all these things with relationships. And they're only staying connected to you so they can be nosy, so that they can check on you to see if the spell work worked. And, again, spell work comes in a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to be, like somebody is a spiritualist and they know how to call on different, energies and know how to do rituals and candle work. It doesn't require all that at all. Spirit said, the more they do to you, the more they contribute to your absolute glow up. Can you imagine? And like this person is kind of grayed out. They look like they're like here, but not here. Can you imagine trying to do unaliving work on someone and you look at them and think that your work is working, but really they're ascending? That's very disappointing because you're not only thriving with achievements and ascending, that shit that they tried to send you is going right back to them a million times over. I was talking about on a live like months ago that Segment is awakening. She has been kept at bay for a very long time because, like I said, everything happens in divine timing and divine order. Spirit had to let things play out lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, just like things are playing out in this lifetime. I saw some footage, I believe it was from Congress, about these um pedo situations. And the woman said, the some I guess it's the woman that's a part of the investigation or oversight or whatever. She said there are over 1 million freaking documents. She said if you put all the documents in a pile, it would be the height of the Eiffel Tower. That is the type of thing that Spirit has allowed these people to accumulate over the ages. Spirit has allowed people to accumulate wealth. They have allowed people to commit infraction after infraction after infraction. And now all of these infractions are stacked up. I don't know any living human being who is the height of the Eiffel Tower. So when the paperwork has stacked up against you or the Akashic records have stacked up against you, there is no escaping that. I'm just going to leave that. And what happens is when the divine incarnates and they awaken, because in this energy, I have not lived, I'm consciously not aware of having lived in, ancient times and slavery and all those things. I personally feel like I lived a lifetime as a slave. I've had past life readings done where I was a cave woman. So I know that I have experienced every every twist and turn of life and changing of times and rising and fall um, of empires from the beginning of time. And it looks exactly the same every time. The fall, if y'all, I'm going to do some research on the fall of empires, but I want to know, like, what was the reason? What was the ultimate reason for the fall of the empire? What was the trend that got to that point? And I'm betting 1,000 on the fact that it had to do with stealing land, stealing resources, monopolizing businesses and money, pillaging people, treating people as if they were, you know, material goods. And I said, as soon as I started talking about the E-files and treating people like material goods, here she go. Everybody that is considered a Jezebel has not voluntarily, consciously put themselves in that position. A lot of times, people, like, you know, if you know anything about SMEX trafficking and stuff like that, there are different levels to it. So it can start out looking like someone working at a club, you know, at the stripping dip. It can also look like, oh, that's my man, that's my boyfriend. And he buys me things and he takes me places and he puts me up in nice hotels. And then the next thing you know, he is your PIMP. And so, you know, just like what I was talking about we're talking about innocent, involuntary SMEX work. Mm-hmm. PIMP energy. And a lot of times it will be dressed up real nice. You know, like the movie image of somebody like that is like you would think of Cat Williams or something in one of his damn Friday characters or whatever. You would think of Pinky, you know, from Friday. You would think of somebody who's just real, you know, like velour and colors and velvet shoes and, you know, big gold chains and rings and shit like that. But no, sometimes they look real professional. They're business people. And that's what throws people off the most, because these people will present themselves as like a sugar daddy just wanting to spoil someone and, you know, wanting to be around someone who's younger to keep them young. I mean, there's a lot of different tricks and trades and terminologies and all kinds of things. And that all goes back to money. So when people feel like they're bound to time, bound to resources, then it becomes a situation where the people who have hoarded all the resources, then now you have another avenue to take advantage. And you are a divine feminine or masculine who is held in high honor, The divine has put you here for a specific purpose and plan and mission. This, you know, even though it says high honor, the person, it looks like they're in the military, a soldier, a spiritual warrior, someone who's willing to put their life on the line to get their message out, to help the collective, willing to sacrifice for the greater good of people, of the collective, of the community, of those who can't fight for themselves, who can't speak up for themselves. Because a lot of times that's the energy that poverty puts you in. Poverty puts you in the energy of, I don't have the money, so I can't come up against this person who can afford, high power corporate attorneys, or I don't have the resources, so I'm not going to be able to fight for my child in custody court. And so what happens is there ends up having to be, a small collective of people who, may be sent here by the Galactic Council for a specific. Come on now. Stop. Now, this is the dog that if you make a daggone sound, like, she jumps and runs. But she has the damn loudest screech in America. I really think they sleep all day, and then when I get home, they turn up. This is definitely giving alien energy, star being energy, on assignment by the Galactic Council energy. And just because you're on assignment by the Galactic Council doesn't mean that you're going to, or somebody is going to properly fulfill their mission. I have personally witnessed people who are very powerful, very gifted, on assignment from the Galactic Council. I even told somebody, I was like, because it was like a relative of somebody that I know was getting a reading from me. And I told her that she was on assignment by the Galactic Council. And she was like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, go ask your relative what that means. And that was spirit basically warning that person, keep fucking around and you gonna find out. Looking sad, don't know what to do, don't know how to get out of it. And it's giving the energy of like, I want to be loving, I want to be, a person that cares about others and fulfills my mission and purpose, but you just can't help yourself. And I'm not talking to you, I'm just saying the person who came against you. You said, I do free questions on Fridays. Questions are 11:11, so I can pull cards for people if you want to pay for like a mini read. So, yeah, concern. Time is running out. That's at least that's what this person feels like. Like time is up. And it's like, okay, well, now you get nervous, but you weren't nervous when you were doing the shit. Don't get scared now. I'm hearing that somebody has known, you've known who you are, who you were since you were 8 years old. Yeah, like I was saying, this person can't even help themselves. Like they want to be loving, but they got this entity attachment, can't even help themselves. And what Spirit is saying is that entity attachments tend to be that person's own energy boomeranging right back to them. So it doesn't have to mean that this person summoned some kind of demon. It doesn't mean that they're under any kind of demonic attack. You can be like, just like you can be your worst enemy, you can be your worst entity. Because what Spirit is saying is that the entity is the dark part of you. Just like we have a balance of masculine and feminine, we have a balance of light and dark. So if you decide to send that dark part of you out towards someone, you better believe that it's going to come right on back, and it's going to be in the form of an entity attachment that you set in motion, that not you who's watching me. Maybe, I mean, there may be somebody outside the live that's watching me that is doing stuff like that. But yeah, you become your worst entity. And the more you do bullshit to people, the bigger it gets. Just like I was talking about earlier, just like a snowball. And so eventually that snowball is going to run right over you and consume you. I'm talking to the ops right now. And when I say overtake you and consume you, you are going to have to watch the people that you tried to stop become a rising star. And the wild part is, these people were always going to be rising stars. But you could have partnered with these rising stars and gotten the money with them, but instead tried to go against you. Because believe me, these rising stars who are on assignment from the divine, operating in their north node, there is absolutely nothing that can block, stop, or hinder where they're going, what they have to do, because that's a part of having a special assignment. When you're on special assignment, there are built-in protections. Things are encrypted. Things are hidden. You cannot speak about your mission. When you are a very high-ranking official, like in the military, you have a very high clearance. It's as above, so below. It's the same with these high-ranking spiritual beings. They have a much higher security clearance, which means that they're going to have way more protection in place. because these people hold information that is going to rebuild the empire that is about to fall. You cannot give that assignment to the average Joe, because the average Joe is full of ego, very superficial, not, on your side, all for themselves, very self-centered. Is the people who are the outliers, if you will, who are the kind-hearted, pure-hearted people. They know when to move, when to retreat, when to set a boundary, when to unleash their darkness, when to pull it back, how to balance it. Doctors work with energy every day, all day. When you're dealing with somebody who has a heartbeat, that is energy. Blood flowing through the body is energy. Everything about you is vibrating on a frequency. And so, really, your organs are energy, your vessel is energy. So, regardless of what the medical profession is dealing with, we are pure energy. Your skin, it looks like you have skin because that vibrates at a certain frequency. Just like wood vibrates at a certain frequency, which makes it hard. Your skin vibrates at a specific frequency that makes it how it is, how it looks. Your skeletal structure is made up of energy and frequency. And I will go so far as to say that a good doctor is constantly studying energy. However that looks, even if it's a traditional doctor or a holistic doctor, you're studying energy in the sense that you're reading you're reading journal articles, you're going to conferences, you're consulting with other experts in the field, you're consulting with people who are conducting scientific experiments and finding out what they're seeing. And so that person is constantly gathering energy, constantly gathering energy in the form of information. Thank you for the likes and thank you for sharing the live. I feel like there's somebody, it's not giving like real spiritualist, it's giving kitchen witch. Like I feel like this kitchen witch does things like buys certain men cologne and does like spell work on the cologne so that like every time they wear it they think of them, every time they see the bottle they think of them. And Spirit said that shit don't work. And Spirit said candle magic is probably the worst modality of spiritual work that you can use to try to come in between a twin flame union that is destined to be together. They are going to go from the twin flame journey to being soulmates, to being like one energy. And that's what happens, like, and I was talking about that in another live. The feminine anatomy receives the masculine anatomy. It's like a key in a lock. When those two energies become one, if those two people are on the same path, they have been on a twin flame journey, they're destined to be together, there's nothing that anyone can do about that. And I would venture to say, so based on what I know about my journey with dating and entertaining the wrong people, I can 1000% testify that the energy feels different when you encounter someone who you are destined to be with. When you're around this person, the energy feels different. And I'm not talking about butterflies in your stomach. I'm talking about you like are in tune with each other. You are awakening each other. You're remembering each other from past lifetimes. One, and like I said, with the male, masculine, female anatomy, one of the keys to life is you being intimate with your divine counterpart, and his key and your lock, when combined, it unlocks other dimensions, is what I'm hearing. Now, I don't know who the hell you are or what you have done. I'm not going to say what you have done, because these people, these energies, really don't have to do anything in order to be the energy that they are. Meaning, if Isis decided to incarnate in a vessel, that's Isis energy. If Tahuti decided to incarnate in a vessel, that's always been Tahuti energy. If like a cat in here or something, I would say that's confirmation, because I was actually about to say you can incarnate as Anubis energy, and then the cat started making a noise, and then the dog started barking. So I mean, yeah. We just had Love Spell come out, and now we have Voodoo. There may be somebody who holds like a doll or has some kind of, I don't like to use the word weird in a negative way, but has some kind of like interesting habit. And I know that, people put pins in dolls and that's why she's holding a doll. But I just feel like I made like whoever does this, like carries a doll or, does something, they are evil eyeing me and you. Because, see, when people don't fully embrace who they are, they're constantly in competition mode. I'm confident in who I am. I am confident in my gifts. I know that I'm still in the beginning phases of my journey for this half of my life, because I've only known that I had spiritual gifts for like the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm 47 years old. So I have lived like 90% of my life completely oblivious to having gifts at all. And I was cloaked from myself on purpose and by design. And I feel like spirit is saying, well, this is the energy of someone who doesn't know themselves. Like they're trying to use physical means to fulfill some kind of void. Maybe they were essayed by someone of the same sex or whatever. Maybe they you know don't necessarily feel confident in their gifts or their specialty, like they don't feel like they really have a purpose or like a particular thing that they're exceptional at. When people are in that energy, they're trying to vamp off of your energy. And see, just like I was saying, with when you're intimate with someone who you're supposed to be with and you come together like a lock and a key, that unlocks dimensions of abundance, joy, peace, happiness, romance. But when you're not with the person that you're supposed to be with, and you're letting someone put their key into your lock who is in like warlock energy or succubus energy, you are now unlocking dimensions of darkness. And I'm not trying to scare anybody like, oh, you know, I've always dated the right people. Hell no. I have not always dated the right people. I married the wrong person. Like everybody um before this, like I would say not everybody, but the majority of my relationships have been me joining energies with the wrong person. And so what happens is when you start unlocking darkness, it then creates more situations that present itself for you to then work out whatever issue that you need to work out. So if, like for instance, I'm just gonna make up something. Let's just say you're working on your confidence and you keep encountering people who talk down to you, criticize you, beat you down, are just making your mission seem small, making your gifts seem small. I dated someone who laughed when I said that I have a mission and purpose. Because what happened was we met like shortly after I got divorced, and it just wasn't the right time for either one of us because right after my divorce, I didn't want to have like a new person around my children because they were young. And I just felt like I shouldn't have anybody around my kids unless we about to get married type shit, especially because the divorce was so fresh. And I wanted to also protect their mental and emotional health. And so there was just a lot of different dynamics. I'm not saying that if you didn't do that, that's wrong. I'm just saying that that's what I chose to do. So I say all that to say that's part of the reason why we didn't work initially, because he had young twins that he was having to drive back and forth to Virginia from North Carolina for. I had younger children and I was, he was like, well, we could, like when I have my kids, we can bring our kids together. And I was just like, not a good time for that. So anyway, long story short, or long story long, whatever, we ended up parting ways. And then we met online again. And I was like, I know you. He was like, I know you. And so we were like, okay, let's try again. It had to have been like, I don't know, 10 years later, 12 years later, something like that, 8 or 10 years later. And so he came back into my life and he was like, I work from home. I'm a computer engineer and I make plenty of money. My house is paid for. So you could easily come live with me and I'll take care of everything. He was like, if you want to do something, you can, you don't have to. And I was like, I feel like there's a but coming. Like, what is the hitch? And he was like, well, I want you to cook me 3 meals a day and like take care of the house, do the laundry and things like that. Now, it's not totally a bad deal because I want to live the soft life. I want to be able to not have to worry about paying bills. I want to not be living paycheck to paycheck. I want to just work on being in my soft feminine energy and working on my gifts and developing my craft and building my brand and all of those things. But when I told him, and this was during the what's his name, Kevin Samuels era, and this dude was like a big Kevin Samuels fan slash supporter. He agreed with his rhetoric, and he laughed when I said my purpose is bigger than being like a housewife, you know. And I was saying I don't mind doing those things because I do those things anyway for myself. But for you to like put me in a box and relegate me to that and then laugh at the fact that I said I have a purpose, I was like, I'll pass. And trust me, at that time, like I have a master's degree, but I've always worked like state jobs, government jobs, and most of those jobs don't pay much. So at that time, my money would be looking funny. But I'm still not going to just be with someone because they're giving me this opportunity. Because what's going to happen is the person is going to like downplay my mission and purpose, is going to like work on chipping away at my confidence, working on chipping away at my motivation to do what it is that I need to do in order to get where I need to get. The type of person who like rolls their eyes if you make a home office and you're doing your thing and blah 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 blah, or gets mad because you're like doing a live and online and you're late getting them their lunch or something. Like, that's crazy work. Spirit said that is not the family dynamic that they have in mind. The family dynamic that they have in mind is you living in a place of financial freedom. Because what does financial freedom afford you? Financial freedom affords you the ability to speak your truth without concern for being canceled or being banned from somewhere or whatever. Because there are people out here that talk their shit. I think Candace Owens is one of them. I think she's banned from a whole damn country. So when you have financial freedom and you have been able to generate generational wealth and everything that you have is solid and secure, you can step out of the box. You can, like I said, speak your truth. Call judgment on shit. Call people out. People are afraid to do those things, like I said, because you either lack resources and or you're beholden to people based on the money they have given you. And that's another reason why Spirit wants to bless people with abundance and financial freedom, because when you have to ask people for help, when you have to borrow money and all that stuff, you are now connected to these people until you pay the money back. Or, if it's like a parent-child situation, it may be something like, well, if I give you this money, then you're going to have to do XYZ. Or if I give you this money, then the expectation is that you're going to take care of me in my elder years, regardless of how I've treated you. And either way, Spirit said it's a no. And I was talking about family, and we have third party situation and ancestors. So this is like your earthly family having unrealistic expectations of you, abusing you. Like when somebody habitually cheats on someone, that's abuse, in my opinion. Because unless that person has agreed to an open relationship and that type of situation, if you are regularly stepping out, that is a mechanism for breaking down someone's self-esteem and their confidence, feeling unloved, feeling undervalued, feeling taken for granted. But your ancestors is like, oh, there's 3 of y'all? Well, look, there's 3 of us. And look, their skin complexions are similar. So hers is similar to his, hers is similar to hers, and hers is similar to hers. But damn. So, and this could just be 3 people who have come against you in general. It could be a mother, a father, a sister. It could be 3 females, 3 males, a male and 2 females. It doesn't have to be like a romantic type situation. But your ancestors said, each of us have each of them, and we own it. Thank you for the likes. Hi, love. So good morning to you. Where are you joining from? Because it's night over here. It's almost 10 p.m. Oh, Trinidad. Okay, we international. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the likes. I do free questions on Fridays, so if you want I don't know if you're following already, but if you want to follow and join on a Friday, that would be the time to ask your question. If the card comes out that resonates with your situation, I'm doing a collective right now, and so that something may resonate for you. So this is unexpected money in the reverse. So I feel like someone is going to have an unexpected like an unexpected bill, some kind of unexpected cost, like a repair. So spirit is bringing my attention to the fact that this flying monkey has a nose that looks like a pig. Now, I don't know what this type of monkey's nose looks like, but spirit drew my attention to that. So it's like having a monkey body, a dirty mouth, a hairy body, a dirty mouth, and angelic wings. And this is basically a representation of a fallen angel. Like I was talking about the people who are actually very gifted, high ranking spiritual beings who refuse to like really accept their calling. And so instead of like really operating fully in their power for good, they out here trying to wreak havoc on folks. And what happens is like the wings are representative of like ascension, seeing things from a higher perspective, um, having spiritual gifts where you can access realms of existence that most people can't. This is like that type of person who uses their gifts in the wrong way. Because I've dealt with people where, they were very gifted. And I was like, why don't we explore who you are from a spiritual perspective? And they didn't want to know. And that was a red flag for me because I'm like, you don't want to know who you are? Because most people don't want to know who they are when they know that they doing dirt, and they would have to face the fact that they're this high ranking ancient deity, that is supposed to be completely changing the world for the better, and they out here acting like a damn flying monkey, and then they really have to face themselves. They have to face themselves, and they have to face the fact that they completely botched their whole mission. Wow. Yeah, I said they botched their whole mission. Their spirit team is like, hey, we warned you about this person. We showed you their spiritual protection. We showed you who they are. And, you know, when you're a high ranking spiritual being, this is the depiction of like being cloaked by the divine. So the divine will cloak this individual and hide them from people so that they can test people, basically. Like they want to see what they're going to do with their free will when they encounter this very protected individual. And spirit's like, you had one fucking job and you couldn't even do that job. Supposed to be a very powerful healer, but instead using your hands to conjure rituals against divine beings. And I feel like this is a young person too. Like, you know, and that's relative, like whatever your definition of young is. But it's a like a very juvenile minded person, very immature, um very impulsive. I'm hearing, like substance use. And what a lot of times people will use substances in order to escape their thoughts, because they're hearing the divine talking to them about how what they're doing is wrong, but they just out here trying to put on the front like everything's cool. If I put this wig on and these lashes and this makeup and this tiny red dress, nobody will know. Oh yes, people do will 1000% know. Especially when they're all seeing. What's the thought process behind coming against someone who is all seeing? I really feel like both of these cards are representations of self-love. Going within, knowing who you are. How do you come against someone like that? Because the majority of society, even people in elite status, a lot of times you could be dynamic in what you do. You can be an iconic, musician. But if you still don't know who you are, that's where we get the Whitney Houstons. That's where we get the people who were very powerfully gifted, moved and operate in their gifts, but end up, getting involved with the wrong person, getting involved with substances and things like that. And then their whole life just spirals at that point. So that's why I'm saying, like, there is a difference between using your humanness to cultivate a certain status in life versus using your divinity and your self-love and knowing who you are and integrating with your higher self and using all of those things for the highest and best good of you and the collective. And spirit is like, You haven't experienced bliss until you have experienced self awareness, assuredness. I mean, these were three cards that came out back to back. They're all representative of self love and the highest levels of consciousness. And I say the highest levels of consciousness because these people have white tops on. It also represents being pure hearted. And this was a time when the person was more in their darkness and having to struggle to discover their self-love. Like their heart isn't up here, their heart is down here. And so like having to do inner child healing work on the solar plexus area, having to do root chakra healing of the traumas that you've experienced. When you work on yourself, that is the highest form of self-love. When you take deliberate action towards saying, I've never felt protected by my parents. And so therefore, I need to do some inner child work around feeling protected. So that means I have to start standing up for myself. I have to start asserting myself and protecting myself and defending myself. And I'm not saying I'm being on the defensive. You know, like you should still be able to take constructive criticism. But when you are like defending your honor, righting a wrong that was done to you, you know, people lying on your name and you having to clear your name, that's what I mean by defending yourself. Because when you are constantly being presented with opposition, you know, like maybe business partners or whatever coming against you, making up false narratives about you, calling you a crook, or, you know, saying that you have bad business practices or whatever, those are all opportunities for you to figure out how to respond to the situation. And so when you respond in a way that benefits you, that is part of your level up. Now, you could crash out and respond in a way that may not be the healthiest for you, but you still have an opportunity to learn from that experience and level up from it. I'm just lighting an incense because I feel like the energy needs to be cleared right now because somebody is evil eyeing the hell out of me. And not that I need this, like I have so much angelic protection and divine protection that I don't, if I didn't smoke anything, if I didn't do any kind of cleansing activities, I will still be good. But sometimes the divine will have you take actions in a way so that you can acknowledge when people are doing dumb shit. You know, people really think that they can run from the divine. The divine sees all. Just because you turn your back on them, just because you abandon your assignment and your soul contract, just because you done packed the bag and called the Uber, that does not mean you can get away. You can get away. You can go on a little getaway. But everywhere you go, I don't care if it's the highest height in the world or the lowest valley, spirit is always going to be right there. And like I was talking about, this could be your parents that treated you shitty and did you dirty. But they about to get a surprise. Surprise. And I really feel like it's a surprise court case. Because not only did they do you dirty from like an emotional standpoint, they did you dirty from a legal standpoint. So somebody about to get a surprise indictment, I'm hearing. Damn. Yeah, because you're a divine being and you have been manifesting your abundance. And just like empires rise and fall, these people's empire, is time for that to fall and for you to rise. Rise and surprise rhymes. And I feel like Spirit is saying they're also going to be very surprised at who you are. Once the divine reveals you to the world, these people are going to like shit on themselves. Literally. They might already wear Depends, but they gonna shit on themselves and piss on themselves and slide down the wall. Yeah, when they see your money. What Beyonce say? The best revenge is your paper. So when the money that you were supposed to have and the house that you were supposed to have comes back to you from this court case, yeah, they're gonna get the surprise of a lifetime. Because when people do things, especially to their children, people think, oh, well, because that's my child and they belong to me, that I can get away with it. And even if I get caught, this person is going to forgive me and they're going to ask the courts not to press charges and they're going to have mercy on me. Because y'all did not have mercy on the collective. When the collective was out here grinding, working multiple jobs, trying to make ends meet, and maybe if you have kids, trying to take care of your kids the best way you can. When you were out here like telling them, it's real tight financially, I'm not doing well financially, blah, blah, blah. They made every excuse as to why not to help you. Well, that person drives a nice car and they wear nice clothes and they get their hair and nails done, so it must not be that bad. First of all, maybe, I agree that when you are not doing well financially, that you should really, figure out economical ways to get what you need to get done. And maybe that means trading your car in so you have a lower car payment. Maybe that means doing your hair at home. Maybe that means doing press-on nails versus getting your nails done. But one thing is for damn sure. The collective I'm talking about, the divine beings that I'm talking about, you not about to be out here looking broke, busted, and disgusted for nobody's benefit. And when people are, money hungry and come against you, and especially when they try to make you out to be the money hungry person, that is a red flag waving. Keep an eye on this one. Use your intuition on this one. I was accused of being money hungry, money focused, because I'm applying for better jobs. I'm applying for better paying jobs and I want to get a promotion, but that makes me money hungry and just driven by money and focused on money and everything's about money. Bitch, everything is about money. We got bills out here. It would be nice if we didn't have to pay somebody for electricity. It would be nice if we didn't have to pay somebody for gas and a place to live. But everything is driven by money. How does wanting to get out of poverty equate to someone being money hungry? I had to basically get loans, and when I was in undergrad, I had scholarships, grants, and loans. But I was accused of somebody who watched me grow up. I was accused by this person of, so there was a discussion about this young man who went to the military because he didn't want his parents to have to pay for his college. So he wanted to use his GI Bill. And I was like, that is an amazing individual, because the parents had money too. But this person was like, nah, I want to go my own route. I want to be kind of self-made. I don't want to be beholden to you because you pay for my tuition. That might not have been the reason. But, there's multiple reasons. It's, maybe this person was like, if I have to figure out how to pay for my tuition, that'll give me, that'll help me to start building my strength in the area of just being a disciplined, self-driven individual. That's what makes that mindset so unique. That's what makes that energy so unique. But as we were telling that story, this person points to me like, that's something you would do. And I was like, something I would do? Do you know how much I owe in student loans? From getting an undergrad degree, a bachelor's, a master's, and I went to law school for a year. And I'm in school right now. I have never asked anyone for a single dime toward my tuition at any given point. And so it's that type of rhetoric, because when people close to you do that to you, who have watched you grow up, it starts to make you think. It starts to make you question yourself, like, am I really this fucked up individual? Like, am I really all about money? Like, is my quest, is my pursuit for happiness, is that being money hungry? You start questioning those things, because especially if it's people who you look up to. But really, low key, high key, that is spell work at its finest. It is someone who is possibly in authority over you, possibly someone who you look up to like a parent or a parent figure, who is creating illusions for you to deter you from where you're supposed to be. This same person told me that I shouldn't be married again because I don't know how to pick people. Okay, but if I can recall correctly, you've been divorced. The person you're married to has been divorced multiple times. And only you and this dude really know what your relationship is like. I don't personally know what the intricacies of your relationship looks like, but from what I can see from the outside, I would never want to have a relationship like that. Ever. There is nothing about that I want to emulate. And just because you have been in a relationship with someone for decades and, you know, it looks a certain way from the outside looking in, that doesn't mean that it's a good relationship. That doesn't mean that you know how to pick people. It means that you married a fucking karmic, both of you, and you just ashamed to say that you married a damn karmic and you weren't strong enough, like the divine, you weren't strong enough to set a boundary with this person and be like, oh no. You just sat there and you took whatever came along with this individual. You made a lifetime partner out of someone who was supposed to be a temporary dating situation. So because you used your free will to make this temporary situation a lifelong existence for you, and because you're miserable because of that, you don't want to see anybody else be happy and in love and successful. But Spirit said, oh no, our chosen are waking up. All veils are lifted. As of the spring equinox, I'm hearing. So as of this past Friday, all veils have been lifted. And, you know, this person that was talking crazy to you, there's different types of obsessions. People can really legit be obsessed with you and obsessed with your downfall. Obsessed with bringing about your downfall. And this could be an older person that's, like I said, it could be a parent figure. And try to come against a star seed. The cosmos, I'm hearing the cosmos is held together by star seeds. Star beings are the one who are maintaining the equilibrium of the entire universe. And you had the audacity I want to say something else, but I'm not. I'm going to keep it non-petty. And Spirit is saying these people purported to be wealthy. You know, they would, you know, showboat, surround themselves with wealthy people, drive what they would consider a nice car. It may not be that damn nice. My subjective view of a nice car is some exclusive shit that everybody cannot obtain. Like when you start talking about Rolls Royces, I watched a show about Rolls Royces and how they are made, and they are custom made to the person. Now, if you buy a used Rolls Royce, it was originally custom made for that person. You do not, unless, like I said, unless it's pre-owned, you do not just go to a Rolls-Royce dealer and say, I want a brand new car with no miles on it. They're going to be like, it doesn't work like that. I have seen a Rolls-Royce delivered to someone's house in Beverly Hills. And when I tell you, it was a box. It was a truck that had a like one of those I want to say not pine box, but it was a wooden box. It looked like, you know, like one of those wooden boxes that maybe a nice hat came in or something like that. But it was a nice ass box. And then the back went down, and then they rolled the truck out of the box. Like, when you purchase a custom Rolls Royce, they're not putting miles on it. They're not even allowing the elements to touch it. So, you know, maybe, you know, you could claim to have a luxury upper middle class vehicle. And I got somebody named Whoop-de-Doo join, and that would be appropriate. Whoop-de-Doo, you drive whatever. Whoop-de-Doo. All right, I'm about to get off of here. For somebody is trying to send you a damn message and they straight blocked and distraught. Like, how did you not know you were going to be blocked? Come on now. With all that karma that you accumulated, with all this shit that you did to this person. Yeah, that's what I've been talking about for the last few minutes. Jealousy and envy. And it's the worst kind of jealousy and envy when it's coming from a parent, because as a parent, I want to see the absolute best for my children. I want my children to live a more peaceful, more abundant, more financially secure, more happiness filled life than I ever did. Why, as a parent, would I be jealous of my children? As a parent, you're supposed to like bask in the joy of your children and their accomplishments and like pat yourself on the back, like, okay, we did okay. We didn't do everything perfect. You know, they may have to go sit with a therapist for a little bit, but we did the best that we could with what we had, and these children are good people. I would totally celebrate that. Even if my children weren't making the most money and had fame and all this other stuff, I would still celebrate my children just for being good-hearted individuals. But when you have people out here trying to play mind games and manipulate you into thinking you're something that you're not, and this was the card that was on the back of it. When people manipulate you into thinking you're something you're not, it binds you. It keeps you from knowing who you are. It keeps you from your purpose. There's a brick wall behind him, causing you to constantly hit brick walls. And like I said earlier, it has to do with you not cutting the puppet strings from these people, regardless of what the relationship is. If your child is manipulating you out of money every month, You weren't there for me when I was growing up and I need $1,000 to pay my rent because I'm depressed because I didn't have the love I needed growing up. And you traumatized me when you left me and you damaged me and you did this and you did that. And so now, I can't even hold a job and I can't figure out life because you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And so they just juicing you every month. And I said juicing you every month. Just taking shit. I'm hearing coming in the house, going grocery shopping at your house. Asking you for money to pay all their bills and going grocery shopping. Coming in there like a damn whirlwind. And I said, a child. So I'm talking to somebody whose child is manipulating them. But yeah, this puppeteer, wherever this manipulation is coming from, even if it's an adult child or a teenager or whatever, like as a parent, you have to put your foot down. There were times when my son, I will never forget, my son completely crashed out in the back of my car because he asked for Wendy's and I said no. I said, you're really crashing the fuck out right now over a Wendy's burger. I told him, I said, with that being said, whatever you got going on back there, it will be a very long time before I ever go through a drive-through with you in my presence. Now, of course, my mother was, oh, well, let's get this and let's get that, regardless of whatever rule I had established for whatever reason. She and the other grandmothers were always trying to like win the kids over and pit them against me, which is another form of extremely detrimental manipulation. And trying to manipulate me with my kids and things like that. So I could be talking to somebody that's dealing with that. Other people in the family basically using your children to manipulate you and burden you and create sadness. Because when other adults can create this barrier between a parent and a child, it can be extremely detrimental for both parties because the child really needs that parent, and then the parent is dealing with so much opposition, so many people coming against them, and people will do things in such a subtle way that it will totally throw the child off. So then now they feel like they have to pick sides, but Spirit is like, the veil has lifted. And for some of y'all, sometimes it just simply takes your child like going away to school and separating from a toxic parent who was talking bad about you, speaking down on your name. This could be your ex-husband, baby daddy, ex-husband. Yeah, manipulating your child against you because they were mad about the damn divorce or mad about the breakup or the separation or whatever. But when you create that type of environment, especially for a child, you see that that ditch, you dig a ditch for yourself that you end up falling in. Because while your kids have skipped over here and they're continuing on their path, you back here. You like, help, help, I need a leg up, help me. And your kids are like, you were toxic, you were narcissistic, you told me lies about my other parent, you manipulated me, you manipulated my emotions. And I said, manipulated your emotions. But, and it was all because you are a sweetheart. Like, you want to see everybody okay. You don't want to see people suffering. You take on other people's energy. You're very empathic. And like, she has a hand that's open to receive. And so, you know, you were just taking on everybody else's shit. Yeah, I said take it on everybody else's shit. When you have not set energetic boundaries with people and you take on their energy, it's gonna be a really either quick lesson where you like, oh shit, let me shake this off, let me get it together, or it's going to be a very long, hard, arduous lesson. Yeah, I feel like a mature man is going to be transitioning, and I feel like it's part of this couple that took advantage, you know, manipulated their children, insulted their children. And, you know, like, people can really insult you and lie on your name, create false narratives, do all these things. And then when you confront the situation, they laugh and they dismiss you and dismiss your feelings and tell you, oh, you're just being too sensitive. No, you're not being too sensitive. You're being an earth angel. It is imperative that you be sensitive as an earth angel, because you have to be sensitive to energies. You have to be sensitive to your intuition. And being an earth angel, you're vibrating as such a high vibration. And you have access to dimensions that the average person doesn't have access to. That's why you have spiritual wings. Because when you have spiritual wings, you can then fly above the riffraff. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the follow. I do free questions on Friday. So if you want a free question answer, I can do that Friday. But please don't come in here on Friday like the two people this last Friday when they tried to damn break bad because I hadn't gotten to their question. Because it will be... And honestly, I was about to say no shade, but this might come off as shade. I have all of my prices on the screen. I have Spirit Guided Collective and Personals, but people are posting in the comments for a free question. So when I do free questions, I use a board that says Free Question Friday. But when I'm in this mode where I'm just doing a free collective, but I'm actually listing my prices, I don't like, I'll never understand why people will just post a question in the comments, because that's part of the reason why I don't like doing free questions, because the majority of free questions are like relationship related, and is he coming back, or are we going to reconcile? But as proven from last Friday when I did free questions, the majority of the people who were asking these questions, I was reading the energy of the person they were asking about, and there was no reason for them to reconcile. And so, and look, it's sitting in my hand is Karmic Femme. Like, you know that your person is karmic. You know that your person likes to run around and be for the streets. You know that your person has assaulted you physically, verbally, mentally, essay. But to come in my space and ask a question like that, I'm going to read behind the scenes, because I'm not one of those readers that's just going to do a straight yes or no, because I feel like the person needs to know why the divine is saying yes or no. And the divine uses those instances to bring light to the situation, to try to awaken the person to the situation. Because when you have a reader call out the situation and basically tell you how the divine sees the situation, and it's exactly how you see the situation, it sometimes puts a fire under people to be like, oh, damn, like, I knew that shit was going on, but it sounds way different when somebody who doesn't know me from Adam, doesn't know him or her from Adam, doesn't know anything about the situation, can call that shit out. And that's how you know that the divine is all seeing and all knowing. Because how would I possibly be able to know that? It's because I'm channeling the divine. I'm seeing the situation through the divine's eyes. In a human vessel, I can't be everywhere all at once. I can't, I can astral travel, but it's usually in my sleep. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't like sit here awake on live and astral. I could. Okay. I was getting ready to say astral project into that person's house or whatever. But the thing is, the point that I'm trying to make is that typically you can't just be in someone's house for 5 minutes and know what the situation is with the relationship unless they're in the midst of an argument or something. Normally, you have to see over time how this relationship has gone, how it's unfolded, and all of those things. So that lets you know that every single thing, every single thought, every single word is being observed and recorded by the divine. So there's a twofold reason for the Akashic Records. And thank you, Crystal, for just being here to support. I appreciate you. The Akashic Records, there's a lot of different reasons. The two that they're giving me, though, one is to hold you accountable during judgment. Because if people can be like, oh, I don't remember that, or you know how people be in court, I don't recall. Oh, you don't recall? Okay, well, we got receipts, videos, and the like, so you don't have to recall. We'll run it back for you. That's one reason. And then another reason is to collect all of the tests and lessons and wisdom that you have gained over time. And, I compare it to AI. It helps you to pull from all of your lifetimes in order to be able to navigate this lifetime. So it's basically just like having experience at a job. If you are a diligent employee and you seek to learn more than just your job, and you are the type of person that wants to be excellent in everything you do, then you're going to have a wider range of knowledge. You can explain to people the interworkings of different departments and who to contact in this department, where to go for that. It makes navigating life more, it makes it more simplistic, it makes it more strategic, all of those things. Spirit said these people must have been confused because they had you fucked up. They had you all the way fucked up. And so you are moving on unbothered. And low key, it has these people shook. They'll never let you know that. But your behavior, like you being unbothered and just moving on and not being worried about having to be by yourself or be lonely or isolated or anything like that, that right there, that has them shooketh. Because you're known to them as being a people pleaser and seeking validation and seeking approval and all this other shit. And when you finally step into your power, when you call your power back to you, and you get the courage to move on with your life, even though it's unknown what that looks like, it's unknown what, the outcome is going to be ultimately. It's scary because, especially if you have family that you could call upon at times to help you financially, that can be extremely scary. Because if you're moving on and maybe you were a trust fund baby, or maybe your people just had a lot of money and they manipulated and controlled you through the money, and so now you like, man, like I honestly, I don't know. I can't even imagine what it's like to know that you have like tens of millions of dollars in a trust fund that you have to walk away from. But what Spirit is saying is that by you walking away from these people in a time that was very uncertain, in a time where you had to do it afraid, Spirit said the divine has a trust fund for you. No worries. And that trust fund, I don't care if your earthly trust fund had $1 trillion in it. Spirit is saying the trust fund that the divine has for you is based on all of the debauchery that you have had to experience lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Could you imagine? First of all, you can't put a price on a human life. However, if we were to do that, could you imagine how much abundance you accumulated for agreeing to be a slave during the Middle Passage? Could you imagine how much abundance you stored up in the heavenly realms for agreeing to go to the gas chamber? Could you imagine how much abundance you have accumulated in the divine for agreeing to be hung, tarred, and feathered? Could you imagine how much money that you have stored up in the heavenly realms for being burned at the stake as a witch? I mean, and there's innumerable things that I could talk about. Being unalived, Charlie Kirk style. These are the types of energies that we're dealing with. High priestess energy. And the AC just kicked on. So that's double confirmation of what I just said. Yeah, the divine. Riches, wealth, abundance stored up in the divine. Spirit said, start planning now. Start getting ready to get your bags packed. Even if you don't have the money right this minute, write down where you want to go, what resorts you want to stay at, what experiences you want to have. Call your abundance in. Call your divine partner in. Call luxury travel in. When these people see your glow up, they gonna be snotting, crying, sliding down the wall. And those same people that called you mentally and emotionally unstable, they the ones. It be them. They project so much onto other people to make themselves seem regular, normal. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need therapy. I'm just fine. Blah blah blah. No. When this person spirit is saying they gonna be like a tea bag in hot water. All the waterworks, all the snotting, all the everything's coming out. Meanwhile, you straight unbothered. Unbothered with your divine counterpart, doing your thing, enjoying life, utilizing your gifts towards your abundance. I could be talking to a spiritualist right now, and while your loved ones, your so-called loved ones, your family is thinking that you somewhere damn fucked up in the game looking like this. Meanwhile, and now trust me, your awakening could have had you looking like this. But the divine was like, that was all in the plan. Because the divine said, oh, you want to call our starseed chosen one? earth angel, divine reincarnated ancient being, you want to call them a head case? Okay, well, we're going to show you a head case. Our awakening is going to look like a head case situation. But when you realize that everything this person is saying is what has been going on behind the scenes, and you realize that now the veil is lifted and you are caught, this person is completely unbothered, practicing their craft, operating in their gifts. Honey, you cannot play with the divine. I don't know why people be trying to play with the divine. Yeah, creating false narratives about you that you were mentally ill and unstable, and probably saying stuff like they're not mature enough or emotionally stable enough to manage this kind of money and real estate and blah, blah, blah. You could actually be a trust fund baby. But, you know, I don't know how people word their trust funds, but the trust fund could have had like a clause that said, if this person is, you know, incapacitated, mentally ill, or whatever, that there was like, you know, this caveat like, oh, well, you know, they can have other people managing their trust fund as long as they're incapacitated. And so what your family did was they created this false narrative of you being incapacitated so that they could manage your money. But meanwhile, they had to falsify documents. They had to pay people to falsify psychological documents. And at one point, Spirit is saying they thought that all of that shit they were doing to you was actually working. Because like I said, you may have had an awakening that resembled, you know, schizophrenia, bipolar, completely losing your shit, like however you want to term it. But the courts now have falsified documents that state that this person has been incapacitated for almost 50 fucking years. And I'm hearing a multitude of people, family members, non-family members, business partners, a multitude of people benefited from the lies that were told to the courts about this person. And actually, because this person's inheritance was withheld from them, they were out here and had to go through life in this energy for the most part. But nobody thought that this person would be put constantly in this energy and transcend this energy in the process. Nobody thought that you would alchemize the energy, all the hate, all the opposition, everybody burdening you. They did not know that you are the master alchemist. You are the alchemist. You are not a alchemist. You are the alchemist. Like the OG alchemist. Do you know who the OG alchemist is? The OG alchemist is Source. Source took energy, transmuted it, and created everything you see. And I'm hearing everything you see and don't see. So people really thought, and see, that's why the divine cloaks certain energies for long periods of time, because they want to give people ample opportunity to take themselves up out of the equation. The divine wants to give people ample opportunity to right their wrongs. Come to the person, hey, look, I know you're not gonna mess with me after this, but we did blah 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 blah. We felt bad about it. We just want to confess to it. You know, whatever happens, happens. Who does that? Who does that? Maybe there is somebody out there that does that. But the majority of energies out here would never do that. Now, maybe a divine masculine would. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Maybe they would come to you and offer a genuine apology and assure you that they will make sure that however they made you feel will never happen again. Because taking accountability is major for you and the other person. Because like I said, if you express yourself to people and they completely dismiss your feelings, downplay your emotions, you can't heal from that. You can heal from a genuine apology, someone taking accountability for their actions and telling you and showing you that it's not going to happen again. That, Spirit said, is true unconditional love. This person is masculine enough to say, I'm going to protect you, but feminine enough to say, I value your mental and emotional stability. I want to establish trust with you because I know that that's important to you. For some of y'all, trust is more important than love, because trust is love for y'all. Because you have not been able to trust nobody. And I say you have not been able to trust nobody. The people closest to you falsified documents to keep you in poverty. But what I was talking about earlier was transcending your circumstances. People can try to keep you in poverty on paper, and I said policy for a reason. Because I feel like we could be talking about divine policy being violated. We could talk about corporate policies being violated. We could talk about people creating false narratives about you in documentation. Lying on your name And whether it's in electronic form or paper, whenever that person hits send or they clock this into the courthouse, it is official. You said, could I trust my intuition? That's really something you have to ask yourself. And somebody's definitely going to the clinic. Going to the clinic. For real. And while they going to the clinic over these falsified documents, you are going to the bank. Clank and bank, they had choices. They had choices. This is a lot of folks right here. I said there were a lot of people involved. Entire communities. Like for some of y'all, this could be both sides of your family. The maternal side and the paternal side. It could be both. Spirit said everybody can get it. And everybody will get it. We talking about seizure of property, seizure of assets, seizure of corrupt, illegal businesses. And we talking about here domestically and overseas. So, I mean, all I can say is get ready, get ready, get ready. Because it's giving Arab money all day long. And we all know what Arab money means. It means oil. It means all money. I mean, hell, that's what everybody fighting over now is damn oil money. And as soon as I said that, I saw this card. So, but thank you all for whoever hung out with me. Thank you for tapping the screen. Even though we had low numbers this evening, which is totally fine. I still got 2.7K likes. Thank you very much. I do. You said I'm entitled to some of that money. Okay. That's what's up. You absolutely are. Oh, excuse me. I will be doing Free Question Friday again on Friday. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Please follow if you're so inclined. Good night. It's almost 11:11. I'm going to clock out at 11:11. Right now, it's 11:10 here. And I'm acting like I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Stop, mama. Stop, mama. We gonna round out the live at 11:11. Stop, mama choo-choo. Let me find a song to take us out on. Can you stop? And she's not. Okay. It's 11:11. And we got Ra the Sun God in the building.
lashes in her hair. Light or dark skin, I really don't care. She looks sad with a bad attitude. Throw her a dick, now she's in a good mood. She can talk high pitches, speak with street slang. Potpourri dust that smells like River Wayne. Standing at the bus stop, twisting off a 40 top. When she get tipsy, it's hard to feel her body rock. She like to dance to a splash jam. Soul food thighs like candy yam. Style like Seymour. As the third day, I'm feeling all the ladies from around the way. I say we feeling all the ladies from around the way. I say we feeling all the ladies from around the way. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is a god if she was similar. I love you, got my whole crew trembling. Sing along, she's so damn feminine. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is got my whole crew trembling. We love you. Tracks in her hair like Tyson, she bobbing weed with the Amp True J League button on her sleeve. Tats on her ankle, Chanel on her keys. Independence dress, so she puff a little weed. Baby daddy 5 won't come and see your C's. Shorty rock cool on the child support, please. When she feel down, might bump Alicia Keys. Go ahead, fuck around, get your car keyed up. You cheating on a green light, better speed up. Take my advice, homeboy, when you meet her. Have some control, even though you wanna eat her. You niggas can't be serious. Like the leather pants Eddie wore in Delirious. Murphy, know all y'all curious. Why around the way girls act so genuine. Real life, so she gossip cause she feminine. About the next kid who got served like Wimbledon. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is a god if she was similar. I love you, got my whole crew trembling. Sing along, she's so damn feminine. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is got my whole crew trembling. This goes out to my undergrad chicks, my fashion admins, my Players Club diamond got a strip type of chicks. Around the way girls try and stack a couple chips. Who's up in the store try to profit full whip. Even if they gotta carry birds in the clip or work 3 gigs so their money is legit. This is the way we ball low flip. Silicon Valley implant Lil' Kim's. Still let her pump sneakers or they give a fuck Tim's. Regular unleaded fuck premium gas. Rather stun neighborhoods with a premium class. Word ball, keep doing what you do. Young ladies, flat G really doesn't mind you. Been a good while since we acknowledge you. Man, woman, child feels so phenomenal. Got a Jones for you, but you're so logical. I love you from your head to your nail follicle. Should do. Shorty rock is so damn feminine. The way she walk got my whole crew trembling. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is a god if she was similar. I love you, got my whole crew trembling. Sing along, she's so damn feminine. She ain't trying to work out what you getting in. Ice is got my whole crew trembling. We love you.
People may not know this man. He was one of the most underrated rappers. If you know anything about Ninth Wonder, if you know anything about Phonte and Little Brother, Phonte to me is probably one of the best. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I could be wrong, but I feel like as far as my generation at least, I'm going to say that. He's one of the best, and this is Phonte's song, but he's one of the best freestylers, like ever. And the song before that was Splash G, and he was like, he told me that he passed away, but in a car accident, but he told me that he beat Phonte in a rap battle one time. He said by a small margin, but he beat him. And that's hard to do. This is Phonte right here. That is very hard to do. Phonte is a lyricist. You can't teach that man how to rap. He's singing this time, but he's a lyricist. All right, y'all.